Welcome back to Talk of the Town. We are going to have a fun conversation about a really unique play that is going to be coming up soon, produced by Stage Q. So if you're looking for something to do in the area, you definitely want to listen to this interview. I'm joined by John Seward, who is the director of Perfect Arrangement. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
So I'm very excited to chat with you about this and for viewers at home to learn. Talk to us about this show. What is it about?
It's a play set in the 1950s during the McCarthy era. It's it's two couples, a gay couple and a lesbian couple, and they each pretend to be married to each other because two of them work at the State Department.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is an interesting, a little bit of a cover-up story.
Yes.
That is unfolding before your eyes, and a really unique, interesting plot. I like this idea. So now you mentioned that it's set in the 50s.
Yes.
Now, how difficult is it to have a play that is set in history? Are you able to make it historically accurate?
Yeah, the playwright made it relatively historically accurate himself by adding in name dropping certain people at the State Department, talking about Lafayette Park in Washington, D.C., which is where a lot of gay men were busted for cruising. And just a lot of turns of phrases that are more 1950s, like you'd hear on sitcoms, like "oh you goose" or "oh you card." It's very throwbacky in that way.
I like the term throwbacky. That might be a current term, but I love it. So that's great. So some of the writing really is, like you said, terms from the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And then I imagine, too, as a director, there's a lot of things that you have to be watching for, too, making sure that people aren't using terms from today or throwing in things like that, and things of the set and costumes and all of those elements that need to be then set in the 50s.
It's true, and I have a fantastic crew. My set designer did a lot of work coming up with color choices and making sure doors and everything are accurate. And I've got a great costume designer who's worked with a lot of local companies to pull stock and get a bunch of period costumes. So you're definitely going to feel like you're back in the 50s when you're at the show.
I love it. And I love the 50s, too, so I would love to be
it's a
back
great
in the
time
50s.
period.
Yeah, get to revisit some of those things of that era. And speaking of, we're talking about a play set in the 50s. Is it relevant for today's audience? Because obviously things have changed, but let's talk a little bit about that relationship between this historic play and what's happening today.
Sure, it is still relevant because the main focus of the play is what was termed the Lavender Scare, which basically the State Department was starting to round up deviants, aka homosexuals, which is where the main conflict of the play comes in. And we're still seeing some of that today where not necessarily that gays are getting fired, but there's still people who are super opposed to homosexuality, gay marriage, all of that. So it's still very relevant, even though it's like almost 70 years later.
Right. Interesting how some of those issues can still be brought to light here today, and for folks at home.
It's also quite a feminist play, too.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, very strong female characters in it. So
interesting timing for this play. And I want to give you an opportunity to, before we go, brag about the cast a little bit. Tell us about the cast.
The cast is really great. I tried to make sure that I wanted to not go complete Hamilton in doing the cast, but I did cast some people that are not white, so that to get more perspectives from them as well.
I like that idea. Get a little bit more variety in your cast and different perspectives infused into those characters. Now, the show is opening soon. When is the show being performed?
The show opens on April 21st and runs through May 6th.
So several weekends to get an opportunity. And in case you missed it, the play, Perfect Arrangement, is produced by Stage Q, at the Bartell Theater. So make sure you check it out. I think it's going to be an interesting one, and certainly interesting chatting to you. So thank you so much for being here. This is the Director of Perfect Arrangement, John Siewert.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you for watching. We've got a little bit more Talk of the Town coming up after the break, so stick with us.